Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday, November 17th, in the year of our Lord 2020. And guess what? It is episode 125, and we are wrapping up 2020. What in the world can we say about 2020 other than, well, maybe things are 2020 now for us, right? Well, we would hope so. Regardless, thanks so much for taking time out of your evening to join us for this episode. We've got an amazing panel. This is the last episode for season 6 of this iteration of Black Pro Gen Live. I know. Can't believe we've been here with you 125 times. Yeah, I think past episode 10, it's like, seriously, I can't believe we've done this many times, but we have. So it's kind of open topic tonight. We've got just a, wide assortment of panelists joining us this evening. Hey, from all across the world. How are you, smiling faces? It's so good to see you. We've got beards, we've got hair, wavy hair, we've got buns tonight. I don't know how me and Trish showed up with the exact same hairstyle. Don't ask me how that happened. I'm not sure. And Bernice and Linda are sort of channeling each other. Maybe I'll give Teresa and Renata the same kind of thing. If Renata had untwisted her hair, it would sort of look like Teresa's maybe. We're going to go with Ellen channeling Andre, even though Andre has no hair, but that's okay. And James and Shelly, it's because they're wearing blue. Somehow we all managed to come together as a group. Hi, y'all. What is up? We are here. Let's talk about this, Lord. This year, this trash year. It's been a good year, but it's been, oh my gosh. We've done more episodes this season than we have done, period. It's 33. We normally do between 20 and 25. So at this point, me and True are literally in pajama pants. It's a party on the top, pajama pants on the bottom during this episode. How is everyone? Come off mute. Say hello, Auntie Shelly, Teresa, Andre, Ellen, Renata, Linda, True, James, Bernice, and Tasia.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
hello,
everybody.
hello.
You know the song from the 50s when they do this and they go on that? That's talking about 2020. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I know. You know what? How are you guys feeling now that we made it to November, right? Like when we first started this year, like it was like, hey, everything was going like normal. And then we hit March and look at Tasia's face. It's like
So scared.
Oh my gosh. Like it feels like you begged your parents for skates for Christmas and you put them on and the first time you go outside, you broke your arm. Like, or you just slid, right? Or like, like it reminds me of A Christmas Story, which is one of my favorite holiday movies, when he finally got that Red Ryder BB gun and then he shot his eye out and they had been warning him the entire movie that he was going to shoot his eye out. That's what 2020 feels like to me. How Teresa, how were you feeling in March and how are you feeling now, 8 months later?
The struggle is real. And it's just, being in the hot, I think right now I'm suffering from PSTD, just rewatching how the pandemic is affecting middle America when Tasia and New York City was, hot zone #1, and it's just triggering me. So it's hard. And right now, I think I have several family members who are quarantining because they were exposed to someone. It's like never ending. It's just like, I just want please 2021 be better than this year. It has to be.
Our resident Florida woman, instead of Florida man, the Florida woman.
I just can't believe it. I mean, I remember when, they said 1,000 people died and people going like, oh no. And now it's like 250 and we still have an administration doing nothing about it except telling people, yeah, go out, enjoy yourself, eat, go to a restaurant, act like nothing's going on.
Yeah, and the thing that really bothered me was when
Enjoy Thanksgiving, because they might not be here for Christmas.
oh my
You
gosh,
heard that?
right.
that look, and that man has no relation to my family, FYI. That is a stain on the Atlas surname that will not be carried to us, okay? But I will say that I think you're right. And I think for me, I just don't think people are getting the gravity of it took us 3 months to get to 1 million people the last time, and it took us a week to get there
It's the
more
numbers are
recently.
crazy.
Miss Auntie Shelley, how are you 8 months into this?
I think we're almost at the point of we're really living in 1859 and not 2020. And I don't think it's good, and I don't think I'm good with that, because the stuff that we do, and it's almost like the craziness that we're on the brink of 1859, just before the war. And I think some people want the war, that just want it to happen. It makes me uncomfortable. It really does. There's too much division when we all wake up in the morning and we all go to sleep at night. And it's not good. Mentally, it's not good. I'm okay being home researching basically 7 days a week, and stuff. I'm okay with that. I just don't like the division stuff. I think we really got problems. I have one thing I can thank one person for, and that is that those 71 million people are now showing themselves, and we didn't know that. And again, 1859. So instead of November 2020.
Ooh, Auntie Bernice, how are you 8 months into what this thing we're currently living?
I have similar feelings like Shelley and Teresa. It's not a good feeling. I mean, we don't have the unity that we need to have. We don't have the understanding of this public health crisis, and so many people are so sick of it, they'll do anything just to get together, not realizing that they're jeopardizing their lives. Just a hug, and it doesn't make sense. When someone tells you social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, understand that this may save your life, but you have these conflicting messages, of which I call hazard communication. And the hazard communication is basically telling people, oh, go get exposed. You need that. No, that is not the right thing to hear. And then, it's not good politically what's happening in this country. Although I'm happy with the way the election turned out, there's no reason why things should be the way they are today. Our president-elect is our president-elect. Our vice president is our vice president-elect. Why are we still going through this craziness? So 2020 is the year that I'm definitely writing about it. And I'm putting all the whatever the feelings I have, because, I want to be able to go back maybe 10 years from now and look at what I said about 2020.
Awesome. So important.
James.
Well, I know somebody smarter than me, probably one of you all, knows those stages of grief and all that stuff. So I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I miss the movies and stuff. I'm happy, like Shelley said, I'm happy to be home and safe and everything like that, and be able to play on my computer and do that stuff. But you do miss regular life, and I'm at the point now where I'm like torturing myself. I bought my friend Tammy Gibson's book, Honoring the Legacy. It's a guide to African American monuments and statues. She and I met about 10 years ago. Wow, we went to Egypt on the same trip. But I'm literally looking at her book of all these different statues of Black folks all around the country that I didn't know anything about, and I'm crying. I'm like, I want to fly to Willacoochee, Georgia, to see the statue of Uncle Ray Ray.
You know
I'm
what?
literally crying my
True.
eyes out right now.
Please be prepared to mute him, the Chattahoochee and Uncle Ray Ray. The fact that Uncle Ray Ray has has a statue. Oh my, what did Uncle Ray Ray do? Was he a Civil War veteran? Like, I have so many questions, but yes.
Right. You didn't know Uncle Ray Ray was USCT and a barber and started a bank in Willacoochee. You didn't know that.
But that's my point, though, is that even though he is known as Uncle Ray Ray, he still has a story to tell, right? But I think for a lot of people that I've seen, there were a lot of folks that said that this was the year that they were going to go do that research trip. This was the year that they were going to go and visit XYZ. And then March came and we were on those brand new skates we just got for Christmas, or we got the Red Ryder BB gun.
I was getting ready to buy tickets to go to New Orleans again. I was going to go to New Orleans this year. I was thinking about going to LA and maybe Chicago. Like I was on it. And boom.
Yeah, well, I guess I should have known that it was gonna go down like this. Thank you, Ike, because you always prepare me. We had a whole cousin's trip planned to Oklahoma in March. Like epic. None of us had been to Oklahoma. Like we were all going together. It was a girls' trip, like all of this. And then people in the family started getting sick. And then a few of us were like, okay, we're still gonna go. And then another death happened. And then it was like, is this an omen? Like we all were like, is this an omen? Should we not go? And then all of a sudden, we're in a pandemic. I was like, oh, wow. All right. So we really aren't going anywhere this year. So thank you. Greg, thank you, Grandpa Ike, because you always manage to give me a heads up on stuff.
Nika, just take it a step back. We did a recording in February and you were supposed to be in Oakland.
Yes, which I did go.
But you were trying to get back and it was a whole bunch of confusion and everything else. Like
yes.
And that was in like February and we had no concept, no clue this bad.
Yeah, I don't really think it was. I mean, and that's the thing, when I was going to that engagement, I asked them, I was like, should I leave? And then they were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have hand sanitizer. Like that's the stage that we were at. We're gonna have hand sanitizer. We're gonna wipe the door handles. That's the stage it was at. And then I literally got on the plane and the next day, sorry, we canceled the event. Do you understand that I flew all the way from Memphis to Oakland last night? And so then I was like, let me stay. And my sister had enough for not. She was like, we were going on a cruise last week. Now we're not. And my kid's dance concert is canceled. I need you to get back home because they're going to shut California down. And I was like, okay. And then I got on the plane the next day. And if I would have stayed until my ticket was, I would have got stuck there. I had a cousin who got stuck in Indiana for 2 months because of everything that happened. So gosh, so Andre, True, Tasia, Renata, Linda, we are here. It is 8 months later. Thank God we are all safe. Thank God we have a place to stay. Thank God we have a roof over our heads, food to eat. We did not run out of toilet paper. We didn't run out of paper towels. We still have we still have bleach and we still have sanitary, wipes, antibacterial wipes to use. But we're in a different place, right? Because even outside of the pandemic, the culture and the atmosphere in our country shifted so much this year. Whether that 71 million was the evidence of that, or whether or not it's something as simple as this. If you don't know what the AMA is, let me go ahead and drop this on you because this is hot off the press. The AMA is the American Medical Association. And as of yesterday, they have officially classified racism as a public health threat. I need all of y'all off mute because if you haven't seen this, then I need all the responses. I'll read through the statement.
I read it.
Truth is
I
truth.
read it, yes.
I said a version of all we talk about is PTSD.
What you said.
Hello. And
Hello.
this is generational truth now.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yes. Because I think for me this whole year, I'm always saying that we are our ancestors, right? One thing I've learned is it's so true because time and time again, our ancestors have been in similar situations where we had this snap decision taken away.
Yes.
Whether it was the Revolutionary War, taken away, Civil War, taken away, you know, and just like that. If they had their
Yes.
way, it would be snap. We're gone. Poof, poof. We don't have any rights.
Well, and let's talk about, but let's talk about what this means from the genealogical perspective. And I'll read the statement because this is pretty groundbreaking. The AMA recognizes that racism negatively impacts and exacerbates health inequities among historically marginalized communities. Without systemic and structural level change, health inequities will continue to exist and the overall health of the nation will suffer. AMA board member Willard V. Evans, MD, MBA. As physicians and leaders in medicine, we are committed to optimal health for all and are working to ensure that all people and communities reach their full potential. Dr. Edwards said, declaring racism as an urgent public health threat is a step in the right direction towards advancing equity in medicine and public health while creating pathways for truth, healing, and reconciliation. To that end, the AMA House of Delegates adopted new policy to acknowledge that although the primary drivers of racial health inequity are systemic and structural racism and unconscious bias within medical research and healthcare delivery have caused and continue to cause harm to marginalized communities and society as a whole. Recognize racism in its systemic, cultural, interpersonal, and other forms as a serious threat to public health, to the advancement of health equity, and a barrier to appropriate medical care. Support the development of policy to combat racism and its effects. Keep a pin in that. Encourage governmental agencies and non-governmental organizations to increase funding for research into the epidemiology of risks and damages related to racism and how to prevent or repair them. Encourage the development and implementation and evaluation of undergraduate, graduate, and continuing medical education programs and curricula that engender greater understanding of the causes, influences, and effects of systemic, cultural, institutional, and interpersonal racism, as well as how to prevent and ameliorate the health effects of racism. Delegates also directed the AMA to identify a set of current best practices for healthcare institutions, physician practices, and academic medical centers to recognize, address, and mitigate the effects of racism on patients, providers, international medical graduates, and populations. Work to prevent and combat influences of racism and bias in innovative health technologies. Ding, 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 DNA. Lord. Then they go on to recognize race as a social construct. Recognize that race is recognize that race is a social construct and is distinct from ethnicity, genetic ancestry, or biology. Support ending the practice of using race as a proxy for biology or genetics in medical education, research, and clinical practice. Yes, demonstrate how this whole thing. We can share this link with you guys because it's a very lengthy statement, but I had to bring that up because you could be sitting here wondering, what does the American Medical Association have to do with genealogy?
I'm kidding.
Everything.
What was
Everything.
the cardinal phrase from last episode? Genealogy is about navigating
structural
racism.
Mic drop.
So, and think about the crisis of black maternal death in our country. Think about the crisis of policing. When you have when a major body like the American Medical Association, and I can say this as somebody who credentialed doctors, like people could not touch you unless they went through the approval process, we would pull a profile on them from the Medical Association. They wouldn't get a job unless we pulled one.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell you where this falls. When they start to codify this, how is everybody else going to respond? So I bring this up because this is the culture.
I want reparations.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
No, I'm serious.
Okay, are we having that conversation?
But then what does it look like?
But
we have to set that up. They ain't even got the first one done.
Who is we?
I'm gonna tell you how we set it up.
As in us on this panel.
I'm gonna tell you the easy way to set it up. The same way, I don't know about everybody else. The same way I got that $1,200 check direct deposited, they already got my information. They can just do the direct deposit, and I'll handle the rest. And I'm dead serious. They can just hit me with a direct deposit. I'm going on the record.
But who is
Everybody
we?
might not agree with that, but that's
Who is we?
What do you mean?
That's when you play in the DNA.
What do you mean?
Because that's
Who
because if
is
who is
we?
of African
I was talking
American
about me.
ancestry.
I said me. I didn't say.
But we're not.
Look. If y'all want y'all
This is
direct
not
deposit, y'all gotta
J
fill the form out.
ProGen Live. It is Black ProGen
True.
Live. So who
True.
is we? Who is we?
Exactly.
That's a great question.
Exactly. And it's not, I'll tell you who we ain't.
Here's why some people would probably think, why? No, we need to have this conversation, because out of the folks that are learned in amongst Black people and amongst the general population across the world, the people who can codify who we is are sitting on this call.
That's what I said earlier.
So who is we?
The collective.
I'm willing to be liberal about it, but here's the only thing about it that I know is going to happen with reparations is all of a sudden you're going to have people who legitimately have done research or have DNA tests who've been something else their whole life, and the moment some checks start getting cut, all of a sudden they're going to be blacker than James Brown. That's just,
But
is that fair? Is that right? I don't think so.
Who is we? If we spend our time worrying about who's going to get around the system, we end up defrauding the people who need the benefit. So who is we? You don't create welfare systems thinking about the people who are going to cheat it. You think about the people who need the benefit. So who is we?
Well, why don't you answer that, Nika?
And I love how Bernice just punted.
Yes,
I will catch in the end zone. I think that and this is going to challenge us as Black people regarding identity and who is codified as Black, because I think a lot of us think we're Blacker than we are. Let's put that on the table. So if we start getting into, you got to be 75% or more, that takes Auntie Shelley off the table.
Yeah.
That
takes me off the table.
Right?
Come on, Truann. Come on,
Ellen. Come on, Truann. That's what I'm saying.
Renata, you come,
Black
girl.
as
Come on off that table.
I'm on. But is Black going to be defined as a political category? That's what we're talking about.
That's where we're at. What we're dealing with too.
Yes. And so okay.
I just say African ancestry and don't put nothing on there.
But is it really people or is it institutions? So do we at this point go and support institutions that are in support of the diaspora versus the individual person? So if we are to put money towards like an HBCU or United Negro College Fund or whatever the case may be, versus I'm just highlighting, because the path that Nika just articulated is a sticky path that I don't got time for.
Exactly. I don't either.
Quite frankly, I don't got time for
it. It gets down to that brown paper bag thing too.
It does.
It does.
Renata, what do you?
I don't think it's an either or thing, though, Andre.
I just was saying that I don't ever think of it in terms of percentage of African ancestry. I do think about being able to prove a path back to enslavement as being maybe a factor, but I just know there's no way. I mean, we have white people that can prove a path back to enslavement. They're finding that out now. So should they get reparations? No. So I just think that that looking at it more as institutional awards that everyone can benefit from is probably the way to go.
You mighty quiet.
I know, I'm just taking it all in, but I think I'm like on Renat's side. I'm not looking at it as the numbers because I'd be going straight to the Supreme Court if that was the case
I'm
with my
coming too.
52%.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, and see, that's probably why deep down inside I've been complaining about I'm not an L.
She's not a what?
The L in
not
the
an L
DNA.
Oh.
haplogroup is
back.
an L. Yeah.
Yeah, but
You a H girl.
She's
I'm
an
a
H.
U, really.
Oh, I forgot she is UB5 something. Yes.
Yeah. But I think it has
to Renata's point, I had, someone at work was saying, you all claim to be African American, but I was born over there in South Africa, and he's white.
Yeah.
Okay, but that ain't West Africa.
Yeah, that's a different
There's
thing.
no
That's a whole.
connection.
Well, and to me, if you ask me, I think it needs to be structural because the multitude of issues have been structural.
That's right.
The response should be structural, right? Like, and there shouldn't be this, like, one of the things that I've been noticing, especially because there have been conversations around canceling student loan debt that have been happening as, they've been having these conversations as a result of stimulating the economy. Now, I'm already like, you know what I mean?
But only 10,000, but I'll take it.
It don't matter.
That's what I said, but I'll take it.
It does not matter, regardless, right? My whole thing is, I've seen people complaining about them possibly canceling student loan debt because I had to work my way through school. I had to pay, I had to do that work study job I didn't feel like doing. And so the analogy I saw someone use on Twitter and I thought it was brilliant was, so basically what you're saying is if you went through cancer and went into remission and they developed a pill to cancel out the cancer and cure you from the cancer after you had already gone through the treatment, you wouldn't want people to get that pill because you had already gone through the treatments.
Right.
The old
Exactly.
way, right? So in some ways, we also have to have, because let me take stuff back a little bit more. Because when we determine who we is, there's a segment of we that is going to want to police another segment of we's around how we utilize whatever benefits are given to us in structural ways or means.
If you see somebody go out across the board.
Yeah, but I'm saying, right? Because the minute a check gets brought up, look at what happened to the folks that got the $1,200 and how people vilified how people spent that money. The same thing is going to happen if there's a structural thing that takes place with reparations. There's going to be a set of we who is mad or irritated or feels like the other set of we did not appropriately do what we are supposed to do with said benefits. So again, I ask you, who is we and how we gonna get there? James?
But all right, I don't think this is an either or conversation, right? I think that there is definitely structural aspects that need to be handled for sure. And I also think that I personally, I believe that individual payments should be made. And are justified. I don't think we're ever going to get it. I'm not like former President Obama. I just saw his interview about his new book where he talks about he still believes in the promise of America. James ain't that optimistic about this country. I'm just going to be straight up with you. But if we're going to talk about what's justified and what's owed, that's my personal belief. Now, as far as this whole idea of vilification that you're talking about, Nika, I agree with you that that's what would happen. But I also agree with Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who talked about when she was on Capitol Hill talking about reparations, about this whole idea of why are we infantilizing Black people, right? We understand that, those stereotypes are going to be out there. And guess what? If Black folk want to take their checks and go do what they want with them, that's part of being adults. That's part of being human. And if they decide to do what you think is wasteful, guess what? There's a whole, if you want to talk about waste and money, all we have to do is look at people's marriages and ask a wife what her husband spends his money on versus the husband spend what does his wife spend her money on, right? Everybody's gonna have different priorities, and that's okay. The bottom line is, to me, slavery was structural, but it also affected us as individuals. And I think America owes that debt. I don't think they're ever gonna pay it. I really don't. but I do think that it's owed and justified. Last thing I'll say to my sister Linda about whoever said that, the South African person. Next time someone says that to you, you should have said not today, colonizer. That's what you should have said. But that's another story.
I mean, that's real talk.
But Nika, quick question regarding your question. I don't remember hearing this debate about how we're going to, reparations when you were talking about Japanese Americans who were interned or Holocaust survivors who received money. When it comes to Black folks, we are always policed as if we don't know what's good for us. We're not going to spend the money on whatever. I agree. It's going to be hard to parcel out individually, but yes, it should be structurally based. I'm like James, I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, or if it's going to happen, it's going to be under the rubric of and I'm thinking of Reverend Barber, it's going to be under like a poor people's type category where you have to include poor whites and other people. I don't think it's going to be for Black folks,
So
specifically.
here's my follow-up to this though. Do you think that having a knowledge of or being able to quantify your ancestors' ability or lack of ability to generate income as a result of being enslaved, right? Andre's face, yeah, you can quantify that because you can look at the years of earning potential that your ancestor had because you had the benefit or you have the know-how or the skills to be able to trace back to the values associated with your ancestors and looking at their lifespan and how long they spent their lives enslaved and how much of their lives they spent free, right? You can quantify how much they should have been paid based on hours. This is all math.
I'm sorry, and how much they were valued at themselves just for their body.
That's my point. But
yes,
go
you
ahead,
can.
Ellen.
Exactly.
What were you going to say, Ellen?
I just think that, you're talking about a check. And I'm like, there are people in Alabama still dealing with like having a refinery next door with people who don't even have the space to think about their ancestors. They don't even have that luxury, It's like there's so much that this country does to screw people over. Either they take the land, they take your health, they stick you in areas where, everybody has family that got asthma because you can't get out of those neighborhoods. I mean, the kind of structural inequity in this country is so massive and impacts so many people. I don't think it's just about being Black. It's not just about one thing either. Because if we're living down there, we're all getting poisoned. We're all getting poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
And that person's getting that money and putting it in their pocket, and they're making those investments, and they don't give a squat about us in the bottom.
Just
so
like
how are we
right
going to
now.
change that? Exactly. That's what we're going through now. So, I mean, I say, and then with that statement from the AMA, how diverse is that? I noticed all the people in that video, that's generational. What are you going to do about Mr. Death, Dr. Death, Scott Atlas? What are you going to do about, people like Rand Paul says, oh, you don't need no mask. A doctor. And he's coming out with this nonsense.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's just so huge.
I think that's the reason why is because you cannot quantify, right?
You can't.
Even if you, and I would even say in some instances, because I think the majority of us on the panel have traced our ancestors to enslavement at some point, we have dollar values or we've seen dollar values associated with our family members. We have the benefit of quantifying, where you can adjust it for inflation, look at the years of labor loss that they were not compensated for, right? But the average American does not have that information. And what I see across social media is, oh, well, researching your family is a waste of time. You can't find anything, right? Because people get blocked out because they have to navigate structural racism at the door of genealogy. So with that said, right? We've already established we can't do, because percentages are blood quantum. It's the same thing as blood quantum.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put that on the table.
Yep.
It's the same thing as a CDIB card. That's exactly what it is. So we can't do that. We can't assume it's going to be a blank check, right? We can't police whatever the benefits are. We are saying it's structural. But see, then I got to play devil's advocate. I got to be my cousin Jean on this one. we've been fighting for the laws to be dished out equally and to be shifted, the policy to meet the law. We've been fighting that for 60 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
So the law says this, the policy and the practice, that's what's up for debate, right? Now, the policy and the practice is labeled as an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you navigate that? If we sit and tell our elected officials to go, to study racism, to study reparations, our world has shifted so much since that bill was first put up there. So the original text has got to be flipped too, right? How do we also talk about this from the context of like people navigating dual identities? You know what I mean? Like
Multiple.
it's so big. It's so big. So I guess to get the conversation to a positive note, because I think it was a good conversation I think we needed to have about reparations, because I really feel like people have this knee-jerk reaction regarding the topic, and people don't really think it through in the ways that we do, because we're in these records daily. To say that, oh, it'll just be a simple genealogy search. Not actually, because are you going to discount somebody who has an ancestor that's marked mulatto? Because it doesn't mean they were 100% African, right? Are you going to mark off people who you can't get back to your transatlantic slave trade ancestors, right? Some of that, again, is going back to the structural systems that bar us from getting to that information. There is no slave manifest, and that we can go back to the transatlantic slave trade, not for everybody, right? So
and it's also the investment in keeping you from that history or knowing about that history in so many different levels. And that's why what we do is so important.
Yes, and the chat room is flying. Neff Hawthorne says many public housing developments were built on former land dumps. Absolutely. Then decades later, residents have all kinds of generational health issues. The double standard, education, water poisoning, FEMA assistant based on politics. People need help now. The system comes at us from all different directions. The digital divide, environmental racism. I think you're correct, not just for slavery, but re-enslavement of each generation, redlining, toxic environments, banks, land stolen, no running water, no internet, no school. Lots of go Ellen. Yes, Ellen, you're preaching, Ellen. And people talked about, this examples with Japanese Americans being given restitution, Holocaust survivors being still receive reparations in the US. Lots of, just lots of things. It's definitely the individual, the property that was stolen from my family will be valued at $1.3 million today. And so many of us have these stories. So let's talk about that. What are some of the biggest finds that you guys have made this year, despite being hemmed up in the house, despite not being able to travel, despite? What are some of the biggest things you guys have come across? Andre?
Not so much a find in as much as being able to help people. I have had several people just blindly reach out to me. Some of them have been, DNA cousins, and we try and figure out how we're related, to people who have seen me on this program, to we just try and figure out how this works. And so that has been probably one of the most rewarding things for me this year. And so it wasn't so much of my own personal research, it's been more of the helping out. On the flip note, I think I had found a great grandfather, and that is still up for debate as far as the research is concerned. But I'm appreciative for what has happened to me this year relating to research.
Tasia, any big finds this year?
Like Andre, no real big finds. I did get really organized over the our quarantine, and started a Facebook family page. So starting to get more family involved. I'm sharing a lot of records and doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Shelly?
I would say I'm with Andre here. It's probably the outreach of helping others is more than anything. And there's nothing like helping somebody find their ancestor. And in my case, someone's ancestor that might have been enslaved, and we got to them and found them. That's probably the biggest, to me, that's the best. That's why we're here. It's not even just our family, it's everybody's family, that, and the connections, just helping. I've had odd surprises and stuff, another wife, somebody that's not full blood, and I'm going to call that usual stuff, because we're going to cross that. Numbers something's not adding up right here, and so, but yeah, the outreach with others and what we do is the biggest thrill for me. The biggest thrill. Yeah.
Bernice?
Several things, and similar to Andrea and Shelley. First of all, I discovered a new second cousin, Alexander cousin, and that was just fantastic because we didn't know each other. And so I was able to give him a lot of information about the family. I also discovered by connecting with one of my DNA relatives that her great-great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother were sisters. And it was just a wonderful conversation because she just had no idea that who she was. And I could give her all the history. I also discovered something, and it kind of dovetails with something with Nika. And it's the Setan family. Remember Nika?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that there was a lawsuit with Peter Clark's land that involved a Setan. And as Nika and I were talking, she went, girl, because
because that
same info. I mean, it was the
yeah,
same family.
it was the same family.
Louisiana, but I ended up matching the DNA of this family. This is what happens when you don't go back and read your documents.
Ooh, there's a comment in the chat room about that, about the fact that they didn't learn something new. That they, going through documents that I possess, realizing I have so much more information than I thought. That's the number one.
I went back to my, even in my book, and I say, dang it, there he is right there. The man was always there, living near my ancestor, but I was so into other documents that I didn't thoroughly review the document that I had right in my face. And so I think that, it's definitely a lesson for everyone. You can research till you're blue in the face, but until you really sit down and analyze what you have, you don't have anything. And so that's kind of where I am with a lot of the documents I have, because I love researching, but you must take it to the next level and go through the analysis and start asking, as Shelley Murphy would say, so what? Start asking the so what's, why, when, how, all the questions that you need to ask. And so that's where I have been in 2020. Also, Nika, I just want to say that one of the things you did on one of your shows, and it was about the census, the various census, but more importantly, it was the enumerators instructions.
Ooh, can we look? Wait, we got to pause.
I felt that was so valuable that everyone needed to understand. You need to know what the enumerators were told to do.
Yep.
Because then that would put everything on the census in the context of why it was put there.
Yes.
Without understanding what they were told, you are in your 20th century thought process, a 21st century thought process, trying to analyze something because you think you know why it was there. No, that was very valuable. And I want to say thank you, because I think that made a big difference to a lot of people when they heard that discussion.
Look, we learned so much. We tried to just say that with every one of those census episodes, that we will be going through the guide. You were there, Bernice, and we would just we would be like, girl, did you know? Look, girl, did you see what it said? Look, we'd be reading at each other on the same document, sharing the screen.
But same thing for Friedmanville. If you don't read that
Same
descriptive
thing.
pamphlet, you don't
Yes.
even know what you're looking at. You just think you
Yes.
lucked up on something.
Yes.
We have
James.
no idea.
James, what would you say your fines, one or two of your fines were for this year?
I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm just like, my jaw just dropped. I'm reading the comments, and Sharon Bruno's talking about her. She found a relative that killed his mama, and what was his mother and his sister, because he had too much religion. I don't even. Yeah,
I wouldn't
that's
say that's
different. I
too
don't know.
much.
I was about to say he
Yeah,
need to
that's
be up underneath the jail.
yeah. Right. But in any event, to answer your question, I would say, a lot of what everyone else has been saying, really just getting more organized, myself, and I really enjoyed helping folks. One thing I will say that I really enjoyed from this year, as far as my genealogy is concerned, is I've got to spend a lot of time talking to family members in a setting similar to this on Zoom, like everybody else. We've been doing the Zoom reunions every other week and every month and all this type of stuff, and really to be able to sit down and actually get everybody's attention and to see that, because there are aspects of doing genealogy work, and I think you all can probably relate to this on varying levels, where it's like, you end up becoming that person at a certain point that has the information, and you're glad to share it with people. But how many people really want to sit there and talk to you about it, especially on a daily or weekly basis, right? So to be able to sit down and actually get people's attention and show, like, hey, not only have I been researching, but here's the documents, here's pictures, here's what, and actually engage more in conversation with my family and with cousins. Like, now I actually have a couple of cousins who are like actually actively engaged in the work, and that's been very rewarding for me, because there's an aspect of solitude which is good for study, but then at a certain point it's like, I'm glad to be able to have somebody, because I can tell y'all about my family all day, and I can listen to all you talk about your family histories all day, but it's still going to be different when you're talking to somebody who's from that family line and who has other information, and now they're actively engaged in assisting in the work. So I'm very thankful for that this year.
Okay, Teresa.
And also I learned that we all like each other a lot, because I didn't realize it was 33 episodes and we ain't killed each other yet on here. So
yeah,
that's
we
a blessing.
did. We did. That's why me and True are in pajama pants and a bun tonight with matching glasses. Teresa.
Well, a couple of things.
I'm glad you mentioned the glasses. I found a cousin that was my eye doctor. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he did.
My new eye doctor
about
is my cousin.
that.
I forgot about that. Yep.
Teresa.
I'd say definitely the two runaway slave ads that I found. One was for my fourth great grandmother, which led to me finding my fifth great grandfather, who turns out to be a Black patriot. And the runaway slave ad of my fourth great grandfather from Greenwich, Connecticut, and with a host of information, and just knowing that my resistance is in the genes. I'm happy there. I've been self-quarantined for like 2 years now. So I've been working a lot with different historical societies, and I'm currently working with the Rye Historical Society and on their community programming and their archives, and just meeting more and more cousins on my family line. So like before we came on, I found a 90-year-old distant cousin, Arnold Brown, who is well known in Bergen County, New Jersey, as being a historian. And turns out we're distant cousins. And now I'll find out even more, because he's been planning on writing a book. So I'm looking forward to this coming year, despite this pandemic year, and just hoping now that I have the information on my fifth great grandfather, I can get into some of the archives. Everything seems to be closed except for the New York Historical Society. So I'll be doing research there, and hopefully wherever Alex is, we can maybe do research in New York sometimes.
Good.
So it's been good.
Well, I've had a kind of big genealogy year. I've been doing a lot virtually, doing a lot of different webinars and conferences that I should have been actually going to in person, and that's been fun. But personally, it's been a gigantic finding for me to have finally you guys know I was already finding Calvin, but I was finding Calvin with respect to his multiple owners. But throughout that presentation, I always am talking about how my aunt told me that we were supposed to have been Neals and not Yarboroughs. And for 23 years, I've been trying to make that connection. And this year, this spring, I did finally make the connection to the Neal family. And I have connected with several of them on DNA, and some of them just through paper trail, and have started to build relationships. None of them knew about any of it, but I now know who Calvin's parents were. And so that has been, and for those who don't know, Calvin Yarborough was my great grandfather. So I'm only 3 generations removed from slavery. He was my great grandfather who was enslaved for the first 25 years of his life. So that's been my huge personal finding. And I guess the next biggest thing is that, you know, I'm passionate about North Carolina genealogy research because all of my ancestry on both sides is from North Carolina. And I've always wanted, or for a while, I've wanted to do something to connect with and connect for other North Carolina researchers. And so this summer I started, along with Tania Kuntz, a summer series of shows to focus just on North Carolina genealogy, where we brought in other speakers to share their knowledge about North Carolina research. So that was just a big thing. I found out that I don't want to have a show forever, but it was fun. A lot of people want me to keep doing it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
You see, look, Bernice, you there?
Yeah.
I was about to say,
I'll leave that to
Bernice,
you guys.
look, Bernice got the same face I do. Everybody be like, "Oh, don't you want to?"
I mean, no, everyone is not cut out for that, and so I applaud.
Look, I'm gonna tilt my head just like she did, because she knows.
No, I don't. That's not where I am. So we'll do a few things, but it won't be an ongoing forever type thing.
Y'all
but I've had it.
Think this is
Renata, let me tell you
easy.
something. You know, I started my show back in 2011. Called
I was there.
retiring last year. But when the pandemic started,
yeah,
I pulled it back up again.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll just.
I've been on your show twice during the pandemic. So
been on my show.
I've been busy, but yeah, no, it's not for everyone. And if anybody's watching this, I'm telling you, you got to know that Nika and True and Bernice and everybody else that has any kind of show, I found out for real what it takes just doing my little series this summer. And I'm just not that person. You know, I applaud those people who want to do that, but I'm glad we were able to accomplish what we did.
Well, yeah, I'd say hats off, because not everybody, you know, is willing to take the jump off the ship or the the dock and do it. I've been crazy enough to be here for 6 years doing this, but you know, every time I go, I called Bernice. I'm like, girl, and we be over there humming show Negro spirituals together.
Yeah, I'm done. I can't do this.
Yes, we be ready to like, no.
But then they have all these people out there that we want to showcase, and so you do what you have to do.
You sure do. True. Let's see, who else do we have? Linda, Ellen, any major finds this year?
I found 2 third cousins that are descendants of 2 of the children of my paternal second great grandfather that happened to take a DNA test looking for their fathers. So was able to make those connections for them, and then also helping someone else with their genealogy.
Good. True.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. I think the biggest one was Granddaddy Ike's first wife. She had a sister. So just like, what was it, last night or the day before? I figured it out right away, and I was able to tell him about Granddaddy Ike, but give him more information on the Haynes line. So he was a third cousin to my dad, but he had no idea like these African Americans were in Rhode Island. They had knew nothing about Alabama. And I think the other thing, there was my Lambert line, which is my Patriot's wife. It could have went two ways, but I did get confirmation this year through my fifth grade grandmother's sister. She was the one, because of a will that their father had that I didn't know about and just found recently. It told me who their mother and father was. So now I actually know which Lambert line I do belong to, and then added a sixth grade grandfather for me. And I think professionally, I had a lot of opportunities be opened up to me because of Black Pro Gen this year, hosting a conference, and the Institute helping out with that. And with the Associated Press article I had contributed to. It was an hour-long interview, but you probably only saw like one or two sentences, but it taught me another thing about my story, my words, and how that works in media and press. So I learned a lot through that, because I'm starting to, like, genealogy kind of like takes me over that way instead of teaching or presenting, but it's kind of sort of probably taking me where I need to go. Yeah, that, and especially with my DAR getting recognized, because usually we're a team or we, but I actually got an I, like this is my work, and was recognized for the whole state of Pennsylvania for 2019 for my content and marketing, and being able to reach out to other organizations that, like 250 America or Monticello. So I'm just surprised that kind of went that way too, because you're not thinking of me or I. It's usually a us thing. So to get an individual award for that, which leads me back to it, I'm starting to drift out over that way. But I'm just thankful that Black Pro Gen's been going for 6 years, because like I said, this is always going to be my baby. I've learned so much through Nika, and I've grown, and it's starting to reap its fruits now. So
good. Ellen?
Well, I've been thinking about, I lost my uncle a couple of months ago, and his wife contacted me because they screwed up his documentation for his death certificate and listed him as Mexican. And I had to get, this is upstate New York. And I had to get, I had to find I had my grandfather's birth certificate, and I finally found it because it had a different birth date and it had a different maternal surname on it, because there's another complicated story with the maternal grandfather not being recognized and stuff. But there's that, which is that just happened like yesterday. So that's really, really it just astounded me that, and they said they wouldn't change it until she showed up with some documents showing otherwise.
Wait a minute, hold on. I got to cut in. James, do you have a source for this? Because I'm sorry to cut you off.
CNN.
CNN. Thank you, Jesus. Wayne County, Michigan just certified their votes. Woo! Lord. Okay, I'm sorry. We just had to go.
Michigan.
Yeah, because if you guys didn't realize, there was a holdup in their votes, and they were trying to have them be recounted, and it was just ridiculous. So thank God. Hallelujah. Yeah. Okay, back to Ellen. And y'all look, I'm gonna put all y'all on gallery view. You guys are being too modest, because several people got awards this year, and you did not mention the fact that you got awards. Bernice,
James,
Kelly, James. People came
Nika,
out with
Nika.
We ain't got to my part yet. We ain't got to my recap part. I'm talking about y'all putting on conferences, The first virtual iteration of virtual conference, Bernice and Shelley, right? Ellen, let me bust you out about your publication.
Ellen, I was going to say that too.
I was just going to mention that.
Right?
James is gonna be on Roots Tech and ain't say nothing about it.
Hello, James gonna be on Roots Tech, didn't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm Roots Tech too.
You know,
Hello, Shelley.
we do
Shelley.
things from time to time, you know.
But the reason why I wanted you guys to do this is because I honestly think that people who watch the show, unless they follow us or know us personally, people think we just show up on Zoom and do things on YouTube.
Oh.
No.
That's not what this group
No.
does.
I went to bed at 3:30 this morning.
Because you're crazy.
No, we research and we educate people.
We do. We
All
do.
day,
Ellen,
every day.
would you like to finish?
Friday.
I would like to say that
we're not new to this. We true to this.
What you said.
Hey,
all right, Jersey.
hey.
All right, Jersey. Let's let Ellen finish because I cut into her recap, but I wanted to make sure she did not forget her paper. I really did.
I'm doing I'm still continuing with that, reconstructing that missing registro de esclavos for the 3rd District of Puerto Rico. And then I did that article on the only slave narrative to come out of Puerto Rico.
Yay.
Really important to me. And
Wepa.
and I think it's really important because the other thing that I wrote about in there is that genealogy has changed. It has to be collaborative. There's no other way that this thing is going to happen because people have kept us from our history for so long. And the only way we're going to do this is by doing it together. So like the way that institutions approach resources, the way that people work, I think that thing of like having this like patriarchal tree that some people have, and you just got the men to go up all the way up to the whatever king or whatnot. I think that's over.
King of whatnot.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm really excited about what's coming, and and I'm just doing me pequeño granito, my little bit, keep things moving forward. And I just want to thank everybody for working with you, the opportunity and the honor of working with all of you here. It's been a lot. It means a lot to me.
Don't
make me cry.
No, because that's my boo. And y'all don't even understand. Ellen is fully out. She is broken out of the shell. And me and True are getting all of our lives seeing Ellen break out of the shell.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know. It's like watching like the baby chick like go for like 2 years. And then all of a sudden it's, I'm here. And we're like, yeah. Like that's what we've been.
The little poppers that come out.
It's like the poppers. Absolutely. That's perfect. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh man. This year has been the most busy I have ever been. You guys don't even realize that when we left California, it was like a journey for me to get to this particular place that we're at. And now everybody has caught up to where I've been for the last like 7 years, where I've been living this online existence. And so it's been crazy. Again, this has been the busiest that I have been ever. I think one of the most incredible things for me this year was launching Patreon and watching those folks in that community who have trusted me. And my goal was to get to 100 people, and we're at 80. We're 20 away from that. And that has come as a result of the support of several of the panelists like Teresa and Ellen and True and Shelley, who has taught several courses over there and even showed up at our small group meeting the other day just because. Even Tony, who's not here, just being able to, I just love it. Like that's where I love to be, is with y'all, and for us to just be over there being nerdy and asking off the wall questions and posting things, and you guys get my gifts and my images and all of my tongue-in-cheek commentary. I have loved that. That's probably been the highlight of my year, no question. And to be able to teach you guys webinars and things that have just been sitting on my computer that you would have had to come to a conference to listen to. In fact, tomorrow I'm excited because I get to talk about Ike Rogers tomorrow, and I'm gonna love Ike Rogers because he is a trip. I will say that's probably been one of the biggest highlights. And I would say as well, the CNN thing, the MSNBC thing. I was in Time Magazine this year. I was interviewed for The Undefeated, which is a part of ESPN. I had so many things till I forget. People will tell me, they'll say like literally the MSNBC re-aired. And I'm like, oh, you guys have already seen this. And then all of a sudden I start getting tags like Vicki Davis Mitchell's like, I saw you on TV. I'm like, where? Because they didn't say that they were re-airing it. And so then I start getting all these tags from people. So I think my favorite story about that was when me and Reese were supposed to meet. And she thought I accidentally got into Zoom ahead of her, and that I was talking to her on the computer, and she had left to go use the bathroom, but I was on television, and she thought that I was in her house. That made me laugh. Maggie was Maggie. Oh my gosh. I can't even, Maggie was hilarious. And so
It was
Wyatt.
good.
It was good. It was
so
good. But
we behind the scenes.
But behind the scenes, it was hilarious. But what I think for me, what this year has done, I loved the latitude of being able to not be pigeonholed into a topic for every single show. I loved that. I loved the fact that I had the ability to be creative with this outside of you guys just sitting there and watching us. I loved my favorite episode still, and I have so many favorite episodes, was when I got a chance to give folks the perspective of folks who had discovered that their parents were not who they thought they were through DNA. I feel like that was probably the most important thing that we did this year, in addition to the lynching episodes. I love when we do collaborative research. There is nothing that beats that at all. I loved that aspect. I loved seeing everyone. My name, if somebody starts using this, they stole it from me. I loved our chisel sessions. I always talk about people, looking at genealogy, like, you're supposed to take the thing out of the box and put it in the microwave and it's supposed to come out. No, it's more like fashioning a sculpture. And so what I'd love to see, I've watched with Shelley and these Freedmen Fridays with the descendants of Jesuit enslaved on Thursdays, to we just started having a Wilkinson County, Mississippi group where we are doing these chiseling sessions where folks will just bring up names and bring up topics, and everyone will just be there researching together in community and digging in more to find out more about their ancestors. I love seeing that. One of the things that I really hope outlasts the pandemic is the amount of online learning that we're having, and for free, especially at the university level. Yes. Me and Shelley, and we are the worst, especially girls.
Ellen was there today too.
Today was Princeton University. And the man that was not enslaved by Princeton, but sort
James
of was.
Collins. Wait a minute, I took notes.
Yeah, we did too, but we were sharing all of these things. And so I love that. The fact that universities were starting to move beyond the academic space to promote outside of those communities, so that we as researchers and genealogists can find out more. Like, my God, Trask 250 went over 5,000 people. It's almost 5,500 now. I mean, I have so many highlights. But somebody just joined Wilkinson County group. Haha, good luck. But I want to go back, because I asked people if they had questions for us, and this is the time.
Linda's? Did you do Linda?
Yeah, Linda talked about finding third cousins.
I didn't know if we got everybody.
No, I went back around. I went merry-go-round and around and around.
Okay.
Let's see. Question. Somebody said, like, I have so many questions. Gaynell says, what made y'all say ooh child this year? Lord, how many ooh childs did I have?
I just had one the other night with you.
She did.
You fussing at me.
I fussed at Shelley.
We can't call out no names or nothing.
We can't, but Shelley had a match that wasn't supposed to be what it was.
It's not in the right box. I don't understand this.
And she was scrolling by like I wasn't going to say nothing.
And I'm sitting here trying to understand why somebody's in the first through second cousin when our parents are siblings. And they in the wrong box. They're not up there with the other one. And then I start saying, but the CMS, the Centimorgans is, wait a minute, this one is this much, this is this much, and this is only 367. Look, Mama Nika, Shelley, stop. Hold up. Stop. What did you say? She ain't supposed to be up there.
Look, I pulled her coat. And what time do we go to bed that night?
1:30 my time.
Yeah, we went to bed
AM,
late.
by the way.
Chisel session, like I said. If you want to get in on the Freedman Fridays, which has been excellent, we've been doing a lot of
Everybody
learning.
doing their own thing.
Make sure you like the Finding Enslaved Laborers at UVA Facebook page, and Shelly always posts a link. So first question is, okay, so what made you say, ooh, child? Comment, I found another sibling. Love it when new people pop in my DNA matches. Woo, that is a ooh, child.
Child.
The North Carolina webinars you did were great, Renata. Let's see, Mill Perkins finally unlocked the mystery of who my great-grandfather is. Someone finally took a DNA test and it has unlocked a whole new line. That's great. Any tips on Tensas Parish? I know that's Ezel. I'm gonna call you. I promise I'm gonna call you back because I got to tell you about Tensas Parish. It's good. That's Mississippi Delta researching, especially if we're talking Freedmen's Bureau. You got to look at Mississippi and you got to look at Louisiana. That's another hint. Olivia, we gotta give hats off to Olivia on Digital Black History.
Yes.
Doing the absolute most for the community. Gotta give her a shout out. She launched a website for I think for her family this year. I did see that. Let's see. Sorting through. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I enjoy listening to you. I'll catch all the recordings when I can. Trying to find slave owners in Orangeburg District, South Carolina, but I haven't found a lot of records as far as probate. What should I do? Freedmen's Bureau. Exactly. I heard, I could read lips.
Southern Claims Commission too.
Southern Claims Commission, pardons, because I've been on that recently. Oaths of amnesty. Anything. Remember, we keep going back to this. Stop jumping to 1870, trying to get back to Jesus. You need to get from 1865 to 1870 squared away. That's crucial before you can start trying to find slave owners. I mean, I'm trying to think, did Black Panther really, remember his daddy had to die in order for him to ascend to the throne?
Yeah.
You don't have a statue just pop up out of nowhere. You got to chisel, right? So what is your chisel? Some people have a bigger chisel. Some people have a smaller one, depending on the amount of detail you need to get, right? So don't skip that 5 years. Shelly, you got something to say.
The thing that you did with me was go with what you know. When I'm not the big DNA person, y'all. And I knew what the first cousin, and she said, go with what you know. That's basically the strategy. Go with what you know, and that's right. And then you can make those comparisons and link them back together. And again, somebody's not in the right box. And that just meant they're not in the right box. That's all.
Well, yeah.
They know they're not in the right box.
Look,
I think they do, and waiting for me to say something, and I'm not saying anything. I think so too.
That's my wager.
I think
Yeah. Well, and what she means is if you have known family members that are tested and you've vetted those relationships on paper, you can go to the bank with those. If other people that you know in that same capacity are not showing up at the same level as them, then you know something is off. That's basically what she's saying. And yeah, that's why I pulled her coat on that. Olivia says, kind of random, but how do y'all keep up with changes to Family Search and Ancestry? Do they have an email listserv when they release new features? Yes, they do. And a lot of people just are not subscribed. And I think it's just because we get a lot of email nowadays. So people just kind of check out on signing up. So maybe set up a email account that maybe is just for like genealogy promotions or something like that. And then you can go back and check. My kind of syntax that I do, especially for Family Search, is I will just sort on, go to historical collections and sort on the date created and do reverse chronological order just to see what's there. Ancestry, typically, if you go to what's new, they'll list out all the stuff. And, if you're on Patreon, I tell you.
Right. And also, if you use, mine comes up on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
And because two of them came up, Family Search came up just a little bit ago. Yeah. So there was a live video going on because when they uploaded those 2 million records, 2 weeks ago?
Yes. And there's another big dump coming before the year is over too. And I don't even know what it is. So Do y'all tag team on any research questions?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Nika and I are looking into the illegal slave trade.
Slave trade. Yeah, that's why that question came up, because Shelly and Bernice and Angela, I wrote in everybody. I got a folder called Flights of Fancy on my Google Drive. And look, because they all go, like we be like, okay, what we gonna jump into this week? It's literally like a lake. And I'll call Ellen, oh girl, I found so really okay. And then Ella will pull out all the JSTOR like scholarly articles, and then Shelly will be Googling, and Bernice will be like, I think I have a book that mentioned so and so, and Ellen does that too. Yeah, I have a whole Flights of Fancy folder. We just do. Let's see, way to go, Michigan.
But it tells you why it's important to try to network with other people, because it's just amazing. I discovered all of these combo cousins of mine. Well, I sent something to Andre. Andre, do you know any of these people? Since I know you have combo in your family. And then I discovered the bunch, the combos, the Goins, the Charities, the Atkins. All of these people are in my DNA. And then I go back to Shelly.
Virginia, all roads lead to Virginia. Then you kick into the Carolinas and then start going east. Right. West.
The chat rooms, they were shedding tears with us. Talking about a lot of little tears going down. Valencia Andrews Purtle says, I want to thank the Black Pro Gen team for being the genealogical classroom for my family. And one thing I will say, FYI panel, you looking at me? All of y'all? The number of coaching calls that I have had with people during the second half of the year, where these folks, as a result of the pandemic, started watching the show, these beginners are stratospheres in front of people who have been doing this for a number of years. So please pat yourself on the back for sharing your expertise in a way that people are engaged with. Like, you literally go, oh yeah, and I went to the Freedmen's Bureau and you went and got the field guide? You read through the what? And you've been doing this since February? Wow. So please, whatever you are putting out into the genealogical atmosphere, either through this show or other efforts, just know that people are watching and they're paying attention and they are learning. Okay. So this whole thought process around, you have to have the last slaveholder surname. Look for the nearest white person. All of that stuff that we are constantly battling against and saying, that's not it. People are taking heed and they're listening. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's a lot of, how can I approach someone to be my genealogy mentor or genealogy bud? I have no one to lean on or talk to about genealogy stuff. Well, what would you guys suggest?
Every Friday, show up.
Every Friday.
Show up.
Get in the chisel group.
Yep.
Actually,
Patreon.
just reach out to somebody. Like, I literally had someone cold call me, not so much cold call, but message me on Messenger. Saw one of the episodes. I'm like, why me? And literally, this person and I had like a almost 3 hour conversation over Zoom. And I found all kinds of records on her family. Like, okay, well, here's this. Like, you just don't know. And I'm gonna take this opportunity now before I become Ellen and start shedding tears. Nika, I thank you, because you reached out to me like some months ago, like, hey, I want you to be on Back Pro Gen Live. I'm like, excuse me, who am I?
We needed the beard. Like, the part of the
beard
show.
is everything.
It's a separate panelist.
So I just really would like to thank you, because I've been in my own little genealogy solitude, and I've branched out in conferences and stuff like that, but and I've gotten to know Bernice and Shelly through other avenues. But thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, and so hats off.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. There's y'all inspire me. Maggie was awesome. I am too proud of my Maggie certificate. That was some Vanguard work. Look, we had y'all doing homework. Someone said, let me see, where did Neff over here trying to make us in full boohoo. Y'all drew me back into research. I completely stopped March to July due to working at home. I realized I miss this community so much. Thank you for being here. There was another comment earlier about being really grateful for having programs during when the shutdown initially started, and the fact that, and someone said, thank you for crew chat. That was amazing. Lord, true. Oh, Jesus. When we got to the
That
end,
was fun.
man, crew chat was so much fun. They all, raise your hand if you thought I was crazy when I suggested that. Come on, be honest.
I didn't think you were crazy. I thought it was going to be fun, and it was.
I just didn't understand what it was that you're going to do. Like, I just didn't understand. Like, well, what?
And then
I was on Twitter more times than I ever been on Twitter.
Look, crew chat is a life.
It is. Twitter is life.
Now, Nika,
I love Twitter.
Nika, now you weren't. No, Nika, you weren't crazy. You know, a lot of folks don't know this, but you know, I'm always the person. If Nika goes beyond beyond the line, I'll call and be like, Nika, how you feeling? Nika, what's going on? Like, because I gotta we'll reel you back in. But you wasn't crazy for that. That was brilliant because at the time, like, we didn't know when we were going back to work and this after. Obviously, you know, we see how the year went. You wasn't crazy for that. This is what this is about, right? At the end of the day, genealogy in the 21st century cannot just be about go look at the census and find the white person next door. No, like we have to make it fun. We have to make it innovative. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, everybody in the audience is seeing is that, you know, we are multifaceted people. You know, we love movies. We love talking about comics. We love talking about all type of different things, right? And so, you know, I'm thankful, you know, to be here as well, and that we kind of kept it going because, I mean, honestly, like, this is some of the most social interaction I've been getting this year, to be honest with you. So, you know, this has been, you know, I'm just happy that, you know, we're all like you said earlier. I'm happy we're all here safe, and you know, we've taken some losses. I know I have. But I'm glad that, you know, this group is here because
well, can you guys can you describe what crew chat was? And the thing that my favorite part of crew chat was when we would throw people off and do an interactive thing because people thought they were just going to be sitting here like this the whole time, and we literally did that. It was like my favorite one was when we did Boys in the Hood and we asked people what Ricky drunk the whole movie, and people were stuck. Like,
I remember that.
Like, I remember that. And take a picture of it. You're supposed to go to the refrigerator and take a picture of some milk because that's what he drunk the whole movie. But if you hadn't paid attention, you didn't feel. Or my favorite, with original Aunt Viv, we asked questions about original Aunt Viv.
Fresh Prince.
The color purple.
My favorite was the family trees.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that was the interactives. I said that's how we can, you know, get them to engage because we all love movies and shows and we talk about it over there. But I'm just so glad that we did it so you can show you how you can do your family research, but it's so fun. Even if it comes to music, I mean, we were dedicating songs to the movies. We were just going at it, and there was meaning everywhere in those movies that we picked. And we still got a running list, but it was always something there that you could relate to. I think one of them was the address. So we all, you know, recognize what block we came from. And, you know, it just gets you to thinking outside the box when you're doing your own research.
And don't forget our world famous crew chat gifts.
Yeah.
It's that part because the people are about those family trees, and then here comes True and Nika with some type of response to a picture. It was like, we are trying to be about this life, and here y'all are coming out with something from left field.
Because it was like us getting a break. We were able to sit down on the couch with our crew.
Yes.
On those nights. So we weren't stressed out trying to put a show together.
Look at Shelly with her popcorn.
Yeah. But the gifts were, oh my goodness. We were letting loose over there.
Yeah, we were. And if you never participated, crew chat is literally we did 17. So in addition to 33 shows, we did 17 Twitter chats.
Yes.
this year.
But you got to realize that crew chat, just like the other stuff, is learning.
It is.
Because you got to realize
True.
what's underlying there, paying attention, what you remember, the family trees, all that stuff. Even though it's
I'm
funny.
gonna tell you.
The DNA too. We had DNA
Yes, I was
interaction.
about to
the
say,
DNA.
Reese just commented on the Good Times DNA song.
Oh, that was
And
funny.
that's a slide from one of my presentations, and people fall out laughing when they see that. James, what were you gonna add?
No, I'm gonna tell you. First of all, I'm trying to figure out when Auntie Shelley went and got popcorn. That's the first question. Second thing is, when did that happen? Did I miss something? But anyway,
Got a
I'm gonna
witch
tell you
here.
now. I think
I sprung in and sprung
Right.
back.
Oh, you gotta teach us that
I
one.
see. So I see. I'm not touching that. But I think I have crew chat PTSD because like now, like I'm watching things. I'm not really I watch a lot of movies. I'm not really a big TV person like on a regular basis. But I'm watching different series now, and whatnot. Like, and I keep waiting for like, oh, when are we gonna talk about the Good Lord Bird on cruise? Oh no, we ain't doing it no more. Oh, when we gonna talk about it on Fargo one? Oh, we not doing.
We
so like,
really
I'm
do
like,
need to do a
always waiting for that.
Fargo. This
Oh,
season
yeah.
of Fargo,
Oh, yeah,
we
Chris
need to do a
Rock.
Fargo.
Right.
Why am I
crew chat.
laughing at
Yeah.
Brother Dante when he goes, how about when we laugh at ourselves because people think crew chat was on YouTube?
Yes.
But that was
Oh
a
my
running
gosh,
joke between
yes.
me and you about when people be like, what channel?
Exactly.
And I would just fall to the floor automatically because I'm like, every week somebody asks me what channel we on, like we on WGAL TV4. I would scream.
It was inevitable.
I'm gonna call my cousin Dante. Because he's making us look bad. All right, Dante, don't do that. All right, you
Leave the
one of my
Reverend
cousins
alone.
in the
Leave
audience.
the Reverend alone.
But it's true, people. It was inevitable. Whenever we would do, like, we have our like system down, and when we like publicize things, it was inevitable. At least one, either the Sunday post or the Tuesday post, somebody was gonna say, "What channel is it on?" Someone was gonna ask that, and we were gonna be like, "It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter." And I loved how there are people that actually blue check marks on Twitter. They started following me as a result of crew chat.
Right.
Because they would see us asking questions, and that's the
Right.
part about crew chat that was so important, is that anyone could participate. You didn't have to be a genealogist, but it would teach you genealogical principles through the lens of television and movies. And so that's, Dante said, y'all pray for me.
And we got a retweet from Julie Dash too. When we did Daughters of the Dust.
When we did Daughters of the Dust. Yeah, that was great. If you guys think we should continue crew chat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Once we got the rhythm down, me and True came through in the clutch right when I was passed out on my sick bed like a Southern woman. True
A
came
Southern
to the
belle.
rescue, and she was like, got it, boom, and I was like, all right, let's go. And so that's the thing. Once we get into a rhythm on the show, especially with new things, then first of all, we got Shelly, you, and Ask Mariah.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
That's our crowning glory right there.
Yes, thank you, Shelly. Shelly loves that.
I love it.
She loves a good beginner, somebody who just starting out, don't know nothing.
But not all of them are beginners.
Oh no,
agree.
True.
And now I would say
now of them don't realize that they're not as beginners as they think they are.
Right.
Last week's was this woman had done all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, man, what you talking about?
Wait a minute, y'all forgetting the one where the woman wanted to know about her family, and all I did was go to the paper in New Orleans.
The rape or whatever.
I remember.
And found out what happened with the granddaddy.
Yes. That was sad.
I was thinking about it. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Shut up, Jay.
What did he say?
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
I wasn't gonna say nothing about that one because that one got deep. I actually want to do like a part 2. I want to know what happened.
I want to know what happened too. On that
you know what happened?
That was
he
deep.
could find the darn newspaper article.
but I'm saying I want to know like. I'm saying I want to know because she was trying to find her grandfather and all that stuff. So I'm saying I want to know like maybe that's the episode for like the future. Maybe we could do like a Ask Mariah follow up episode.
Where are they now? Where's Mariah?
Yeah, but we got
Mariah.
Where's Mariah?
You know what? Because we keep
that's what just came. That was that email.
You know we can keep a you know what? And that's a great true. for the kitty for next season, we could do a Where's Mariah Now, where we follow up with the people that were on Ask Mariah, and whoever wants to participate can like come in.
We'll figure out how to make that as an
because we keep track of everybody, and you guys know we've handled over 100 queries on that since we started doing it.
But it's hard. So those of you, if you think about doing a query, please give us the information. Don't just say, I want to know who my great-great-grandmother is or my great-grandmother, or want to do. You got to give us some details, because I be wanting to call them and Nika won't let me call them. Just take what they have and put it in order and stuff. And it's I just want to call and ask.
Y'all fought me because when we first started doing,
I'm gonna still fight you on that.
And they got this. I said, no, take it how they ask, because that's how the general public is gonna come.
But see, that's the teacher wanting to say, what's your question now?
Yes,
let's be a little bit more clear.
No, no. We got to take it how we got to take the trash out how the bag was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Sometimes it ain't stretched. Sometimes it's too packed. Sometimes it's a lot of my euphemisms tonight. I'm over here channeling Barbara a lot. I put the link in the chat for what I call Friday chisel sessions for finding enslaved laborers at UVA. And yeah, there's been a resounding, please, let's do crew chat again. If you never joined us, please, let's do that. Roots and Chill. I loved being able to have the show during the day. I loved
it. I like that too.
That was, to me, that was a great feature to just
especially when the majority of us are home during the day.
Exactly.
I ain't been out the house but 4 times.
It was an in and out type of thing. It was like 15 and then, okay, let me go see what I'm going to do, and then we're going to come back and report.
Mm-hmm.
So
when Nika calls you to be like, yeah, are you busy? Nika, what you want? Well, at 1 o'clock, I need you for, ma'am.
But those were so relaxing and easy.
They were.
They were, but it was so random for me.
Oh, yeah, because we had just kind of like poked that in because of our situation.
Well, the pandemic started.
We had them extra episodes.
And we were looking for something that, how do we, but
wait a minute.
Out, and
is that Regina in there? Is that Regina in there?
What's she saying?
I don't know. She down there talking about cool roots and chill.
No, she said that was cool roots and chill.
Okay.
It was to keep everybody in the house. We were just
getting started. So with Andre, it probably was like, "What are y'all doing?" You know.
I know.
We're on a schedule. We're supposed to be on a schedule.
So I don't think people realize this. Like, you all talk about like the amount of work. No, audience, there is so much work that goes on behind the scenes that we don't even go into details. Like, there are Facebook messages, emails, there is stuff happening behind the scenes that is just as hilarious as what you are seeing right now. So I just need you all to get, like, I'm working at 12 o'clock noon, people, but yeah, we're going to do a Roots and Chill, and we're just going to figure out how we're going to do this. You're not busy. You're not working. Go ahead and sit down and chat with us. Nika, I have a whole job, at least up until May.
I work full-time too.
Okay, ma'am, I was unemployed, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, I guess I have time now, so I guess let me sit on here at this 1 o'clock.
So clearly the Lord spoke to me.
Is that what it was?
Oh my gosh. There's another question. I have trouble searching on Family Search. I'm doing something wrong. Even when I try searching for records that I know are there, using the exact info for the record, I can't find it when I search. Family Search is a little kooky in that it doesn't, if you uncheck, most times I leave the exact search off. And especially for locations, because it doesn't smart fill like Ancestry does. And unless I have Wilkinson, Mississippi, United States, it'll pull every county in Mississippi that's just Mississippi, United States. It'll pull all of those things. And you really have to be really good around your wildcard searches using asterisks and question marks. Ellen, you have any other suggestions?
Keep track of those film numbers on some stuff. They have like no title, just the number, which drives you nuts if there's several in that run,
Yeah, great suggestion. Participate in Facebook groups for the states you are researching. You're bound to find someone who'd be happy to help. That's great.
And if there ain't a county, your county that you're researching, it's your obligation to start it yourself. If you don't find the county you're researching, you got to do it. They will come. They will come.
The
Yeah.
people will come. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Like someone said that was cool that was good during the day, especially since I'm moving my mouse to keep my screen from shutting down. I might as well learn some more.
On that second screen.
Hey, don't y'all be dry. Don't y'all be dry snitching on yourselves now. Don't tell on yourselves.
You have that second screen. You can't see. You're not dry snitching. You have your laptop function working. You have your other screen. Because trust me, I'm gonna snitch on myself. That's what I did when I watched Your Paul's Not Your Paul episode. I literally had it on my whole second screen while I'm trying to find me a new job. I did.
I did. Oh my gosh. Well, just to jog everyone's memories, and to kind of close out, we're just gonna go through, literally, we need to do this, the episodes for this season. My God. Okay. Researching While Black isn't that a loaded topic?
Wait, we all know, and the folks in the chat room, this is the only place you're gonna get this.
What you said.
Y'all hear me? This is the only place you're gonna get this.
Yes, but wait a minute. Why is Dante cutting up in the chat room talking about, we not supposed to do family research while working?
What? That's why you have a cell phone.
What you said.
That's why you have a whole second screen.
I'm so happy. I didn't say this last on that episode, but I'm so happy we did research While Black, because anybody follows me on social media, y'all, and the Black Pro Gym folks, y'all know me and the security staff at the National Archives, we have consistent misunderstandings. I think I'm the only person that's probably been, I done been like searched, I done been all types of stuff at the National Archives. Library of Congress love them to death, but National Archives, they need Puerto Rican Jesus. So I don't know what they got going on. They need help.
They got transcribing going on right now if y'all want to help them.
Okay. Well, they sure do.
I don't mind doing that. I don't
record.
mind doing that, but I don't want to be.
He doesn't want to be profiled on the computer. Research profiles and racial justice part 2. Reese mentioned this. She discovered the last person lynched in the state of Virginia was lynched in
her town.
Yeah,
I think down there in Danville.
Down there in Danville, interviewing. I cannot believe after 6 years we just did that for the first time. It was so crazy. For the lynching episode, we had profiles in racial justice. Definitely Clifford Glover for me, and Mary Turner, and Claiborne Taylor, John Claiborne Taylor. All of those stood out. Again, thank you to my very good friend Takesha Jefferson for those artistic renderings of people we didn't have photos of. She did an incredible job with those. Those were they were just amazing. Oh gosh, 1850 and 1860 census.
Love it.
Yeah, I just got some more mortality schedules today. I cannot wait to go through those. Oh Lord, Shan't Knock the Hustle. That was the whole peddling of identity now and how Black people are in. My God, we might have to go back and watch that one. 1940, 1950 census. Lord, how I got over. Lord, we be talking about some stuff on this show. Maggie. Oh my gosh, our Juneteenth celebration. I forgot we did that too. My goodness.
That was random. That was a startup.
It really was.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, hey, let's do something for Juneteenth. Insurance records. Oh, that was a good one.
That one was good.
That was.
We were, yes, that was good.
Yes. With Skip Mason. Gotta have Skip. Skip was
trying
hilarious.
to think of what that guy's name was.
Yeah, he's like, what's his name? That's Skip Mason. We did 1920, 1930. Lord, Roots and Chill, DNA and Genetic Genealogy, Civil War and Freedom Era. When DNA gets real, the live
That's my
Q&A
favorite.
after the show. My God. Special thanks to all of my family who was brave enough to tell their stories. If you guys don't remember, everyone that was on the episode around not knowing who their father was is related to me, including the psychologist that we had.
Yeah.
So that was, oh my gosh. Then we have When DNA Gets Real, court records. Oh, I forgot about that. I always forget what we do. Oh my gosh. Probates and successions, newspapers and periodicals, roots and chill, tracing the trade, slavery, and North and South Carolina. We had marriages and unions, roots and chill, births and deaths. Ooh, those people. That was my best friend who actually, Genji, just finished her first book. It's going to be coming out this week. It's called Beyond the Hashtag, and it's love letters that she has written to the Black men in her life.
Oh.
Yes, and it's because her niece asked a question during all the uprising. She was like, "Mommy, why doesn't the world love Black men like we do?"
Mm.
So gotta give my best friend her kudos for that. We had censuses and lists, 1900 and 1910 census. Perception is everything with my dynamo mentor, Regina Jackson, tracing the trade in Louisiana and Mississippi. Marriages, can't believe it took us this long to cover that. Yeah, breaking ancestral narratives free. And then we've got Battle for Context and the 1880 census. That is just this season. So if you were watching now and this is your first episode, you got a lot of catch up to do. You know what? Okay, there was a question here. Anything you guys thinking about before we close out? This is it for 20.
I got one. I got one thing that I'd like to say. I don't like to flex and all that type of stuff, but this year I was awarded the scholarship, the Paul Sluby Scholarship from the Board of Certification for Genealogy.
Yay!
Shout out to Madam President LaBrenda Garrett Nelson and that team, and I appreciate that. I was one of three people selected: LaJoy Mosby and Nikki Williams Sebastian. But the reason why I bring that up is just for one reason. Not so much to flaunt, but more so to say this is that, one thing that this year has taught me, and really this year and maybe the past year or two, is to put yourself out there. I think they only got like about 25 different applicants for that scholarship. And I'm glad that I put my name in. And to be honest with you, I know I put mine in when it first came out or whatever, but I want to encourage those in the audience, to apply for those scholarships, apply to speak at these different conferences, submit your Ask Mariahs, put yourself out there, because all of us here, I know sometimes you can watch this show and it's like, oh, they know all this stuff. Look, there was a time when James Morgan ain't know nothing. There was a time when Andre ain't know nothing. We all start from somewhere, but don't be afraid to put yourself out there as much as possible. Whether you're trying to go into genealogy professionally, just as a hobby or what have you, don't be scared to do that. I hope that you all are learning that lesson from watching us. I really do, because all these awards and stuff that everybody's talking about that they're getting, it comes from putting yourself out there and having faith in yourself and in your work. So don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid.
Can I tell something and y'all don't tell nobody?
Okay, hold on. We got to lean in.
Lean in. Each one of the tracks at Maggie will have a scholarship to apply for.
Oh, snap, crackle, pop.
Each track
at the Midwest African American Genealogy Institute, held in July of 2021, which will be entirely virtual, will have a scholarship, which means
each one people can apply for. I just need to write it up.
Exactly. We'll have a form for you to fill on the website. Notice I said will, because I'll probably be the one putting it up there.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, ready to go.
And you'll give it to me ready to go. Look at Andre fixing his scarf like, I'm about to apply for that.
Track one. You might want to highlight all the tracks, Shelly, for all of us who may not be familiar with Maggie.
Track 1A, methods and fundamental methods and strategies. Track 1B is specific slave era research. And let me tell you what, they kick butt and they take names. Kick butt and take names. Track 2 is DNA, and there's 2 parts of track 2. 2A is for beginners, 2B is intermediate. And you gotta take a quiz se.
Ain't a quiz, it's an assessment.
It's an assessment before you can get in the intermediate. You can't be showing up thinking you know all this. No, you got to come in there and know. Because Shannon Christmas, Nika and Bernice gonna whip on y'all, and that's all I got to say.
You ain't saying nothing but the truth. Me and True were in that class together.
I know, but we graduated already.
We graduated from that, yeah.
Hey, my certificate is over there. Okay.
Me and True were in that class together.
But you know, there's people that have come back on the second and third time.
Absolutely, they
like
have.
on DNA, they come through track 1 to re-energize themselves. And track 1 is really not for beginners, but it's all about the strategies. But it will root you if you just got started. But if you're experienced, it says, here's some new methods, some new strategies to do. And y'all heard one tonight also, because Nika said it. And track 3 is pre and post. Is she slave era? Because it's military, you get
emancipation,
military, and they do ancestry. Juliana for ancestry.
Yeah, she's there.
4 classes, there are 3 or 4 classes.
Yes.
And then track 4 is African American and Native American. And I had to think what realm I was in. American Indian on DAR, Native American on the Freedmen of Civilized Tribe. And so that track is specifically on researching people that were freedmen or had previously been enslaved by one of the 5 civilized tribes, as in Native American. I was going to say American Indian, but Native American. They're the same thing, folks. It's just what
it's different syntax on stuff.
Yeah.
And the tracks are subject to change. We can put the website in the chat if you're interested. There are plenty
because
of
I moved Judy her slavery in the law. I'm putting her and I do have a new class in track 1, which would be Judy Russell. No, it'll go in 1B, where she does teaches about slavery in the North.
And I think we were the inauguration class too that used Google Classrooms at the time, so we could.
Yeah, we remember we shared that.
You know, our classmates and everything. That was the first. I think the first time I used it was when I had my DNA track.
Yeah,
I think so, and I think you will see Google Classrooms in some of the other institutes, because True and I kind of been on some other platforms and
they
wouldn't what we use.
Sorry, and we wouldn't, and our stuff wasn't raggedy. Yes, I said it. Okay.
No, it was not.
It was
and
not.
It was good.
It was not, and it was good. So the link is in the chat. People
I haven't put the scholarship stuff is not up yet.
Yeah, but people are asking if there's going to be a cap on the number of people who can be in sessions. And I can't speak for any of the other tracks, but I know in particular there is a cap on DNA just because of how intensive some of the assignments are. It's not very conducive to have 300 people in a track 2A and 2B. It just does not work very well. So be sure to get in early. Registration it's been up there since the last Maggie. And you can go in and switch your track.
People already, we just got a new registration yesterday or today.
Yes.
People are registering now.
I'm registered.
Yes, James is registered.
You got a scholarship.
He got a scholarship.
I did.
What is someone saying to me? Check the link. I literally copied it from the browser. I don't know what they're saying. That's not the link.
That's correct.
That's the correct link. I'm not sure what Patriva is saying. That's the correct link.
But make sure, is there a S after the HTTP maybe? I don't think so.
No,
there isn't.
I just clicked it. It works.
I literally went to the link.
Michelle, when you register, you pick your track then.
Yes, you pick your track when you register. Anything else, you guys? Thank you.
No, because I'm about to put this on, and that's how I'm going to bed tonight.
You know what the fact that is the name of the movie.
I know I'm addicted to Apple Plus TV right now. So
girl, loving it.
Well, again, thank you guys so much. We've got plenty of work ahead of us to try and carve out what next season looks like. We want to make sure that you get the most out of your experience watching the show, and that also,
Tell them stories.
yeah, that the story, you are amplifying the story, that there's more than just finding these facts and just putting them into some online tree, that you really are taking the time to distill what you're finding, and that you are looking at how systemic things and structures affected how that information is being reported to you now, and how you can use that to inform your family. I'll close with this. In about 1850, a little girl was born to a couple. And by the time slavery ended, she was 15 years old, and her mother was a midwife. And she trained her daughter in becoming a midwife. And that daughter delivered every baby in my family until she was killed by a car that was passing by on the road. She had just delivered a baby, and the dust had not settled, and she decided to cross the road, and the car hit her and killed her. And luckily at that point, she had already had 10 children. One of those was my great-grandmother. Another one of those is the great-grandmother of somebody who was walking into the White House, standing in her stead, looking at a place that was built by enslaved people that looked just like her. So I say to you, don't ever think that your impact is too small. Don't ever think that no one's paying attention. Don't ever think that, all those hours and days and nights that you sit at your computer eating your popcorn like Shelly, or maybe you're on Zoom with other people, that none of that's going to mean anything to anybody. I don't have anyone to leave that to. There's no one in my family. No. What happened for me and my family today is that we saw that midwife walk into her destiny. And I share this with you guys because I will never forget the first time I walked into the US Capitol, and the fact that I couldn't believe that I could just walk into, like, where the senators are. Like, they have that open. I can walk there. Yeah, because I own the building just like you do. But when I sat in my cousin's office and we started talking, I said, I wonder if Clora knew that her two babies would be sitting in this office, and that you would be in this role. And not only would you be elected to the House of Representatives, but you would represent the exact same district that your cousins were in when they desegregated New Orleans, and that you would be sitting in this chair that was the same district that your cousin was in when he testified in front of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission, and that you would be in this role. We could be complete strangers, but we're not. So as you spend the next 60 days or so, however long, I'm bad at math. I use the Finder app on my computer or my phone. Just think about the scores of people in your family that are just relying on you and depending on you to tell the story of that little girl and of that midwife who delivered all those babies. Because her life meant something. And there she is in the White House.
Amen belongs right there.
Have a wonderful rest of your year. Get your rest, take your vitamin C, wear your mask, wash your hands. In fact, today I was looking at research about mouthwash. Even get the Listerine. We don't know, right? But on behalf of True Lewis, Ellen Fernandez Sacco, Andrea Farrell, Teresa Vega, and James, along with Renata and Tasia, and who am I forgetting? Linda. We just thank you guys for hanging around. I'm sorry?
Reese.
Reese. Oh, yeah. Reese is in the chat room. Angela. Tony.
And Bernice.
Bernice, right? Thank you guys for hanging with us. Alex, yes. Willie.
Willie.
Thanks. Yes, Willie will be oh my God.
He graduates, our baby graduates in May, right?
Wow.
Yes, he does. On behalf of everybody, we're working hard again. Thank you for staying with us for 6 seasons. And don't forget about the little midwife and the future that could. Have a great evening, y'all.